Good morning, good morning, good morning. Nice. Well, it's not really the morning, it's about 9 a.m. I call it late morning. We basically had a good evening. I said in yesterday's video as well, I started doing Mark Hutchinson's Rewired program. Um, yeah, really enjoying it. What can I really say? Don't want to give too much away, but I think if you definitely want to be changing your psychology, it's definitely a proactive approach to doing that. I think there's so many good incremental things that one can do to improve. And I think, learning from somebody who is already at where you need to be, if they're producing anything like these courses and you look up to them in a sense, then yeah, for sure, you need to be taking advantage of it. I think one of the reasons I didn't take advantage of it early on was I wanted to get my TA down. I wanted to be good at what I do. So anyway, going to jump straight into it. So in this short video, I'm just going to be going through sort of the charts from yesterday, sort of missed trades as well. But it's not going to be like one of my normal videos. I'm kind of just going to zoom through it and then, yeah, that's it really. Um, we essentially were looking at price around about here yesterday. Um, as we expected, we did get that sort of price action we were looking for. We got the sort of, if I just remove this, if I don't remove that and I remove the price, we were basically looking at it like this. So what I was expecting is something like this to come here and then trick people and then continue, right? Um, coincidentally, we had literally that, um, which, no surprise at all, because looking at the higher time frame, which is the most important part, we are moving to something more significant, and it makes more sense for the DXY to move here than it does to move down here so fast. So right now, obviously being smart, obviously a lot can change, and if data does change, because we are moving correctively at the moment, um, you know, data can kind of just play with you. So what I would like to see is obviously price gets here very impulsively and does this. This is basically what I'm looking for. Doesn't have to be in the exact same form of this, but that is what I'm looking for on the DXY. JP225. JP225 is a little bit interesting as well. I think it's moving down in this corrective channel, but we've had this very corrective squeeze, and a lot of the yen pairs have been selling off. We came to a inflection point, and then we just began to sell off. Now, do I truly believe that this could be the beginning of a sell-off? I don't really know, I'll be honest with you. Can't really tell you that, because there isn't enough data, in my opinion, for me to come across and say this is a sell. I would say that, this potentially could be the beginning of a run, but is it the run? I'm not sure. And I don't think I would be taking a major sell in this area. But looking at a few other yen pairs, it does look like the yen pairs are shaping up, and there is a potential that we could be coming to a low. And if we do go lower, which is in continuation of this channel, we could still come to these lows. So definitely some big move on the table. Just got to be patient with that. Going on to the watch list. So Euro Aussie sick. I think a lot of us were looking at this sort of purchase price over here. Um, for one, was looking for, the corrective pull from this low to basically correct all the way back up here to give me that larger expanding to potentially take a short. But it does look like, we're accumulating this middle section, which essentially is giving me that buy vibe. So, and expanding at the top of it, expanding, it makes a lot of sense now that it wouldn't be a reversal pattern, it would actually be a continuation pattern. And I think the clue is in the price. The clue is actually in the middle section here that is telling me that, if it was a normal sell off, then I would actually see the price go corrective towards the top. So I'm actually seeing it halfway around, which is a bit interesting. But yeah, so definitely looking for continuation outside of this sort of trend. This is basically where I'm seeing price break out. So if price does break out here with some sort of impulse as well, continuation up here, great, I'll be in for the move. Does look like there's some news coming in today on the Euros unemployment rates. So we'll be expecting that in around about an hour from now. That could form as some level of impact. Not really bothered about it. There isn't any sort of structure or volatility I can take advantage of at the moment, but there is a potential flag here to potentially bring us higher. So we had this corrective leg down, sort of middle flag could potentially push up here before we get a sell off. A few variations, but EA at the moment, not really going to touch it. Um, Euro GBP, I think Euro GBP is certainly a mistrade, unfortunately, and it's very, very um, funny because I think if I go on object tree, okay, it's not on here, but I did actually consider taking a near miss trade over here. And I think it was like literally bang on a few pips. And then I was just going to step my stop loss around about 30, I think it was like 26 to 30, um, around about there. But then again, I did contemplate that this would be very premature. So for that reasoning, I didn't take it, and I guess I wouldn't let this particular trade mess with my mindset because it probably really could. But in terms of where it's going, it's 3 4%. There'll be plenty of abundance of opportunity there, but in terms of management, I probably would be quite aggressive to take 50% of that and put about 3% on there, 2.9. So that's basically how I would have taken that trade. Um, this continuation pattern here, I mean, it was enough, but I think with the near miss, I was happy to stay out of the price here because this could just correct and then kind of just drop off and get a little bit more messy. So for that reason, I wasn't really interested in the purchase of this, but we can wait and see. Perhaps maybe we even go and get a sell straight back down. There's a few things on the table. I was really more so interested as well in something like this. You know, some sort of very, very confusing sort of patterns happening in the market. So people are just like, wait, hang on, I thought it was going bullish, and then boom, we get something like this, and then we go to the low, and that would be quite cool as well. So definitely going to be stay sharp with this one. No need to obviously overdo it. Just wait till price kind of reveals itself. Next one's Euro USD. Euro USD was phenomenal, phenomenal, phenomenal. Honestly, so much opportunity. Did I keep them on here? No, I refreshed them. Okay, so I basically had trade one, two, three, four, five, and then obviously some of these weren't able to catch as well. But there was so many trades. Honestly, it's incredible when you actually look at it from a viewer of, just analytical side of just understanding things. There was a trade in here as well, which was great. Honestly, we had this nice scoop. We had a near miss test, came a push up with a little squeeze, and then this little squeeze here was like an indication that okay, cool. You know, this is it. This if you want to catch a trade, you can look in here. Then we saw if we go out to didn't even have to catch it on the 5 minute, of course, but it would have been easier to refine and see. But yeah, even so, if you take a look at this, and let's just say that, I mean, perhaps maybe going to the bigger time frame, you would have looked for a little bit more. But there we go. Honestly, that is brilliant. That alone is, I think that's a nice trade in itself. So yeah, you would have had to be quick on that one because it looks like it sold off pretty nice, 21 pips, but then it just spiked up. So you would have been out for possibly around about 1%, um, which is a shame because that volatile spike over there would have just taken a lot of people out, especially with slippage as well included. It's not a nice bit of price action there. But then followed down, we did kind of push back down. We created this sort of 15-minute, I would say. Nah, not really the cleanest of entries, in my opinion. I mean, there's nothing I could really say in terms of taking this. Um, Not something that I would probably catch. I would not really see this as this is a pattern. Um, it is definitely a pattern. It's just not the evolved pattern I would see. So yeah, wouldn't have been able to catch that. Missed it, and then we're down here. But yeah, this is unfortunate because I mean this was a nice trade as well, and then you would have seen this and then been like, okay, cool. That bit of price you wouldn't have really expected it, which is a bit annoying because it would have just taken you out maybe if you got a nice trade here, if you got a trade in there, those two great positions that would have been waited for would have been taken out just because of that anomaly in the market, which was probably due to some news that came out, which I wasn't monitoring. But yeah, so it was just news related, Fed interest rates and Fed press conference. So yeah, it was just one of those things that happens. And then yeah, so just created some volatility and then pushed back down. So continued with its natural um, form of continuation. So yeah, right now it's looking pretty good. We are at the sort of testing this area here. We did come down a little bit corrective, in my opinion, very corrective. Impulse correction continuation, so there is some structure in there. However, at this point in time, I am looking at furthermore continuation. So if there is a flag below that low, definitely that makes it a little bit more high probability, and I'll be looking for that sort of trade. Next one I'm looking at is GBP Aussie. GBP Aussie is sick. Honestly, I've been analyzing this one and really been looking at it. It's unfortunate that I missed out on it, and that was due to my personal preference of looking for perfection. However, I think in a different unit of time, if that did kind of play out to what I was forecasting, it would have been great. Would I have taken the double top, triple top over here? Probably not, because I didn't. But I did monitor it, and I was more so looking for, you know, that extra bit of price like this. It doesn't have to be that sort of thing, but more so something like this, where I would have had a 1, 2, 3 leading up, and then evaluate the push down. But we didn't get it. We just got a 1, 2, 3 before that. We did have enough over here as well, so should have kind of just saw that coming, and then we started to sell off. Um, so looking at this here, if I go zoom in a little bit more, what you can see here is we had one section over here on the third touch, second, and then third. So we did have a 3 touch retest. Might be simpler, easier to see on the 15, but yeah. So essentially, it was here, 3 touch right here, 1, 2, and 3. Um, and I think when we had that sort of rejection there, that should have been a indication that okay, cool, this could solid be it, because on the 1 hour, I don't think I would have taken the entry on that candle alone, but I would have probably taken it on the next one. This one over here would have been enough, and then I would have probably set a stop loss around about probably, yeah, I wouldn't have put it up here because I just, yeah, then I'm playing the game going back up, so I would have kept it a bit tight, kept it around about 32, 32, yeah, around about 32 there, and then held it in, and that would be the trade. So I'd currently be running around about roughly to 8.28, which is not bad. Um, and then management wise, I'd probably be locked in around about, yeah, around about 6.5. And then over here, this would have been more of a 15-minute refinement for me. You'd see that we came in over here, 1, 2, 3. Would we have known that angle? Probably not, to be honest. The truth is, it's not the easiest of angles to catch, but what we would have seen on the 1 hour is 1, 2, 3, and then 15-minute refinement. We would have looked at that section there, and then we would have looked for a push down. But the only thing about this one was we didn't quite come to that third touch. But over you different time periods, I've realized that we don't have to. The override is more than enough, um, and then the retrace on the override is enough. So this was a little bit, I guess, of a riskier one, definitely because it is a risk entry, but definitely because I did risk the fact that it could have just fully retraced and then just gone up and then come down. And I've seen that happen a lot of times. So I guess with this one, you had to be a little bit on the riskier side of things. But I didn't take it on live market conditions, so it's somewhat different, isn't it? But yeah, so that one was pretty good, and I think that one would have been running similar to um, the 8%. I think it'll be running around about 6% right now. Yeah, about 5.24, and then locked in roughly around about 3%, I believe. Would have probably had it around about here. Yeah, call it about 3.3. Um, yeah, and I had them like that. I mean, perhaps maybe yeah, I mean, overall it's not bad because you'd have about 9%, 10% locked in anyway. And then with the potential of roughly having like 14% actually running right now. So some good profit. And then, yeah, I guess I would have been taken out at this point over here. This is where I would have been taken out. So I would have seen price drop off like this, come back up, and then that little spike over here would have taken me out because I would have got aggressive. I would have got really aggressive, perhaps maybe even more aggressive, like down here when I saw this just dropping off. And then I saw it sort of pull back like that. I would have probably got extra aggressive. So if I was to probably realistically get out, I would have been out for 7.33 and 4.55. So yeah, roughly around about 13 to 14% there. So, well, no, sorry, 11, 11% roughly, 11 to 12. So yeah, so not bad at all. And then would I have re-entered over here? Probably not. I probably would have just stayed out now and just been happy with that, and then worked on something else. So yeah, I guess that's pretty good for GA. GA is actually a really nice pair. I think looking at or quickly just going back to GA just to clarify, obviously, this was the hover outside of the larger structure. Above, obviously, this is the touch, this is the mass psychology, this is the 1 2 3 ascending, which didn't need to meet with the override, which would have been nice if it did, but it didn't. And then we told off, and then we created the hover, and then from the hover we got a little bit messier, and now we're creating something a little bit more complex. Might even create another flag within this, but that's that. New Zealand Swiss, basically looking for this hover now. So we've broken, we're creating continuation, and I'm looking for the sell. So unfortunately, we are still in this sort of price range here, and I would ideally like to see this break below. What I would have wanted is ideally price to either sit on it or break below it and create continuation. At the moment, we are kind of correcting back up, so I'll be extra patient with this one. I'm not going to be looking for any trades over here, but if we do kind of impulse down and we create continuation, it'll be there. So it's a later the week one for me. USD CAD. Yeah, USD CAD is also quite nice. USD quad CAD is quad CAD. USD CAD is in this expanding still. As we expected, though, there was definitely an entry over here. I think it would have been more so refined, but it didn't come out as clean as I'd hoped for. So definitely on this sort of section here, I would have looked at this as the low price to come in here, but it wasn't really the sort of price action that I could have really engaged with. So it was certainly either it was a mistrade because I wouldn't have taken. I think it would have been a quite large stop loss. Yeah, 54 pips. Um, yeah, I wouldn't touch that. And also, this was looking like a flag to the downside as well at that point on the low. So yeah, it wasn't really the sort of risk entry, and nor was it the sort of reduced risk I would have taken, but certainly was in a very good, valuable place above my line in the sand. Flag forming, I think this was definitely a great trade. It's just too much on the riskier side to actually catch the entry. So, with the volatility that came in due to the news, I think that kind of just pushed things a little bit further and kind of just I wasn't able to capitalize on it, unfortunately. So, that's that. The last one I'll do is obviously crude oil. Crude oil is looking very corrective. I think if we are coming up here or a long way away, I think what we're going to be doing is maybe getting a little bit complicated. It's looking very corrective on this leg here. So I think we may actually just override and not meet this, or if we get a strong impulse, we will. But I think more so, I think at this point now in time, um, yeah, I don't know if there's enough in here. I think we're just gonna maybe mini override sell off. So and I think the sell off might be beginning as we are. So yeah, it's just one of them ones where I think I've got to leave it a little bit longer now. Unfortunately, if we got the momentum that we needed, we would have reached the target zones, but unfortunately we didn't. So that's it for my watch list and crude oil. But definitely, the pairs are shaping up. The wild cards are also looking very good. But at this moment in time, there was just a few mistrades, nothing I could really capitalize on. But that was just the reasoning behind them. So have a good weekend, have a good day. And yeah, I'll probably post a video tomorrow as well, Friday, doing my market breakdown as well. But yeah, it's been a good week. Take care. Bye bye.